Welcome in, everybody. Hit that like, share the show. Be up in just a minute.
Thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what? Would you classify that as a launch pad or a design pad?
Hey, careful, man! There's a beverage here, huh?
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you? I make you laugh? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Did IQs just drop sharply while I was away?
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
I never realized how much my advice could hurt people until my advice hurt me.
All right, let's get this started. I know I'm playing with fire today. I know it. On a bunch of fronts, but I'm throwing caution to the wind. I just at this point didn't care, as they say. Oh, I'm still getting the little zippity zap noise. Why are you doing that, you crazy little thing? You crazy little doggy? I hear the alert thing, which is not bad. I mean, it's lovely to get that from you guys when we do. So I mean, it's nice to know if as long as the noise isn't too irritating to people out there. Now, uh, um, I was going to wear one of my many and I'll show you. I was going to wear one of my many uh Real Genius shirts that I love, and it just it's too close to the color to make it through. This is the of the three main shirts that you'll see Val Kilmer wear in Real Genius, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. You will see him wear Surf Nicaragua. There is also, of course, the I like Toxic Waste, which you guys have seen me wear many times. But then there's also the International Order for Gorillas. Both of these shirts, I have had a knockoff version of them over the years, but I did when I recently I looked up a way to get a new one about a year ago, or maybe even two now. Time flies, and I found this site online that Val had, and it's hard to read. It says official Kilmer propaganda. And this was the brand on his own line of these shirts so that he could sell them online and make money because he had throat cancer and all kinds of terrible. And he was making money any way he could because he couldn't really act much anymore. And there you go. And so both of these, the ones that I've been wearing recently, and I still have the old ones. Both of them still have that on there. I ordered them, and they arrived basically directly from his house. Whoever, like an indie band. It was like somebody working for him or around him yeah. Sorry about the pew pew. I'm not quite sure where it's coming from in the sound effect world. Because it shouldn't be in there in the alert box, but it is, and such is life. But like it's really sad. I mean, for a lot of people, like and he was one of those guys who was, the complicated Hollywood actor, and another reason why I'm in the fuck Oliver Stone camp, because word was that Oliver Stone was like, you should really try heroin, like for real, just to see what it's like since you're playing the character, like like shoving people into being method just for the sake of it. And just, I mean, Oliver Stone is in general a terrible person, just for the record. And like he managed to like weasel his way into being kind of I mean, stealing Natural Born Killers, I think, from a Japanese film. And then the JFK thing is just a hodgepodge of some just like fever dream of the conspiracies around it. And then yesterday, or day before now, I guess, he was brought before a committee hearing. It's just like so fucking lame. Just I have very little sympathy for the Oliver Stones of the world, and who prey on the complexities of life and the difficult moments that this country and others have been through, and he can just play with it all he wants to. On the other hand, good news. I will deal with the Val Kilmer thing in my own way, if you don't mind, because it does mean a lot to me. As it taught me how it's okay for smart people to be funny at a very crucial point in my life, which is I'll save that for a more philosophical moment. But I want to start with this. Susan Crawford kicked Brad Schimmel's ass last night. 300,000 votes. 240, but still 55 to 45. Like, it was a trouncing. This was not one of those situations where, okay, it is going to drive me nuts over time, isn't it? But I don't know where it is. Why would you? Yes, I don't know, in the account in the thing. Why in the world would there be a thing? Maybe it's preview mode. Should put it in here. No. No, I just don't see it coming from anywhere. It's so weird. Maybe I'm only hearing it in my ear. Maybe that's it. Are you guys hearing it? Hold on. It's settings, and audio, and the thing, and okay, the wavelengths. Well, there you go. That's fun. Oh wait, I know where it is now. I found it. Hold on. Cancel. Here we go. Alert box. Come here, you. There you go. I found why it was. I'm like, why is it in here? Okay, properties, control audio via OBS. Okay, and there we go, and mute. And la-di-da. Oh, I hunted it down and I killed it. It's a lovely thing getting these little notifications from you guys, but I also, don't want the noise to freak everyone out and give everyone sort of issues. There you go. And meanwhile, this needs to be way bigger. I don't know why that's so teensy tiny. There you go. It's odd. There you go. It should be down here anyways, like this under there. That's what I'll do. And I'll put it here. There, and put it like that. Okay. Now, this is apparently, and this is partly the title today, it's the end of the world, and as we know it, and I feel fine. If you'll recall, Elon Musk was assuring everyone that the election of Susan Crawford to the Supreme Court of Wisconsin was the end of Western civilization. Which it's not. I don't want to bury the lead here, but it is absolutely not, and he's being a complete asshole. And I really do think there. You guys remember when there was that kid who did he murder somebody, ran over him with his car? Affluenza was let's see Ethan Couch. Remember that? The Texas teenager who was drunk driving and he killed 4 people. And his attorneys said that because he was brought up in a family of wealthy people, he had a lack of understanding of consequences, and therefore he has no sense of the value of human life, and it's not his fault that he hit and run somebody because it was just money. There's too much money. He had just had too much money to have a heart. Remember that shit? Okay. First of all, that's bullshit. Secondly, no, you can. There are poor sociopaths and psychopaths too. Fuck off. No. But there is a thing I'm seeing a lot of lately, which involves rich people who live like teenagers. Elon Musk and I mean, many people in sort of his ilk are on their fucking phones. They're screenagers. They're on their fucking phones all the time. Elon Musk is on Twitter practically 24 hours a fucking day. And to all the super rich people out there, I know at one point you were the go-getter and the force and the belief system and the motivating factor and the genius that was behind your company's existence. And if it not for your get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, go to bed at 2 a.m., work mentality, the company would no longer wouldn't be there. Never would have made it. But now it's a huge machine and it makes billions of dollars, and barely anybody at the office. If you didn't have the center office in the building, if you just walked in your civvies, most of the employees wouldn't be able to pick you out of a lineup because the company is so big. I know you want to continue your life as if you have the illusion of direct control over something that big instead of just abstract control or direction. which you absolutely do. Steve Jobs absolutely went to work every day and worked. But a big portion of Steve Jobs's day was spent at a at a certain point after he righted the ship at Apple with like hyper fixating on his diet and taking weird trips to sort of quell the boredom. So to all people who are if you're ever thinking of being a billionaire, here's my suggestion. Either give it all away or get a fucking hobby, because there are few things more dangerous in modern society than some rich asshole who thinks Twitter is real life and is on it all the time, thinking it's a reflection of the of how life is happening in the real world, because they can't go out in the real world because they're effectively the president of a medium-sized country, and they're afraid of being knocked off or whatever. They live in this kind of like paranoid delusion because of it. I you know do something shit. Like, there's so many interesting things to do in life that can just eat up your attention span. Fucking learn to whittle. I don't know what. Like, rediscover cursive, get some coloring books. I 3D print and build little robots and shit like that to keep the part of my brain that's not necessary for my job busy, so lest it do awful things in the world, right? But just to yeah, Elon Musk, stop pretending to be an engineer and go get a fucking engineering degree. Because you will have a moment if he does, if he has, if anything can come from him going and actually getting an engineering degree and trying to be the genius he pretends to be, is that he can't. If you study those things, you can't not have an epiphany where you go, oh shit, I I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Like that. There's a learning moment where you're like, "Oh, I was talking out of my ass." Like that if you study with the depth that you should and that you can, and that your pretense falls away as you have a deeper understanding. Now there was, and it was on me. I should have brought it up on Substack, or no, was it on? I think she was on Blue Sky. The first, yeah. Um, one of the uh greatest like things that isn't my show that I got to watch. Oh, quit it. You know what Blue Sky app is, you silly computer? Um, one of the coolest things I watched. Let's see if I can bring it up on here. Hurry. There we go. What? Okay. What are you doing? My goodness. Okay. Where are you? There you go. Yay. I don't know why it took so much to get that, but let me see if I can I'll sign in, and then we go to here, and then we go to this guy, and then we go to that thing, and then yes, and then oh sorry. Um yep, I get in. There we go. And next. So many twists and turns, twisty turny things. I had commented on a video yesterday where one of the like a woman was in front of Congress, and I'm blitzing on her name right now because she's relatively new. I didn't start following her account until this video came up, and it's great. And she's part of the Sunshine Foundation, or what have you, the sunlight.org or something or other. It's the yeah, yes, the American Sunlight Project. So Yeah, and her name is Nina Jankowicz. And yes, I found it. Oh, you take that and you like it, you son of a bitch. By the way, Cliff Schechter will be joining us in the next hour, but it's just you and me for the first one. So we will get through this together, as it were, in the morning show. But let me show you something. This part right here.
I want to acknowledge the irony we're having this discussion as we witness an assault on the First Amendment we have not seen in decades. The Trump administration has directed far more egregious violations of our Constitution than the imagined actions of the Biden administration on which this hearing is premised. Each one is chilling, but as a Fulbright alumna, the recent arrest of Rumesia Ozturk, a Fulbright PhD student at Tufts University, especially disturbed me. The Secretary of State seemingly revoked Ms. Ozturk's visa for publishing an op-ed in Tufts campus newspaper. For using her constitutionally protected right to free speech, she was spirited away by plainclothes ICE officers in broad daylight. This is what I'm used to observing in authoritarian countries that I study. And if this had happened in a country in this subcommittee's portfolio, I think you'd issue a statement of concern. But it happened here. So yes, we do need some First Amendment protections at the State Department, but not for imagined transgressions of previous administrations. We need those protections from this administration today.
Yeah. All right. So damn straight. Now, there, like you can see, she was on the right path through all this. Now, this was the one. Yeah. Is this the? Let's see if they play that. Yes, this is the clip. You guys remember when I went after Taibbi and I was like, fuck this chump and his bullshit.
To your knowledge, has State Department funding
his conspiracy, his like censorship industrial complex. Remember that shit? Which is, I mean, it's just garbage. It's so fucking dumb. The Twitter files didn't show anywhere near the kind of government overreach and collusion with big tech and blah, blah, that they talked about. It's just a fucking farce. And I hammered this till I was blue in the face when this dickhead was on Capitol Hill. And she just nails it here. Watch this.
Ever gone towards suppressing domestic speech?
Thank you, Ranking Member. Mr. Taibbi said when he was first searching through the so-called Twitter files, he didn't know what he was looking at. Well, he still doesn't. Everything looks like a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. And let me tell you,
hold on.
No sense.
Pause. I fucking love that. Ladies and gentlemen, oh my God. Everything looks like a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. I mean, and she knows she nailed it. Look at the smile on her face. Can we see that again real quick? Thank you.
Work to discredit conservative outlets. Ms. Jankowicz, to your knowledge, has State Department funding ever gone towards suppressing domestic speech?
Thank you, Ranking Member. Mr. Taibbi said when he was first searching through the so-called Twitter files, he didn't know what he was looking at. Well, he still doesn't. Everything looks like a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. And let me tell you, there was no censorship going on at the Global Engagement Center or the State Department. You may have heard Mr. Weingarten kind of make the inference that all of these lists GDI and NewsGuard are making, you might have thought that they were funded by the State Department. They were not. Do you know what the State Department was funding for those two organizations? Something I think the Republicans on this committee would be very interested in. Tracking and countering Chinese state propaganda targeting Americans. Now, I used to manage State Department grants early in my career. I know that that is a huge fiduciary responsibility. You have to account for every single penny that you're spending on travel, on staff time, on supplies, and you have to do it multiple times a year. So for folks to sit here and say that grants dedicated to countering CCP propaganda were somehow spent on conservative blacklists is just ridiculous. And I'll also add that that is those organizations' speech to be able to do research and categorize news sites as they see fit.
So good. Everything's a conspiracy when you don't know how anything works. I'm a huge new fan of Miss Nina Jankowicz, and so like again, there's this idea that everybody's kind of like tiptoeing in Washington at these hearings, lest they draw the ire of the Republican Party, and specifically Trump. And by the way, this is her Blue Sky Nina Jankowicz right here. It's she's the CEO of at AmericanSunlight.org. And her thing is ninajankowicz.com on Blue Sky. Jankowicz. This is the spelling. There you go, right there. So I will let's see. I don't know if we can how we share her thing. Copy to clipboard. I will post this in mine real quick. Is a must follow. There we go. How about that? Post. There you go. So, anyways, that drop, because I was so, you know me, I was so aggravated by the bullshittery of Matt Taibbi and the fact that they're still belaboring this lame ass point, like all still after all this time when it failed miserably last year. And now what are they going to do about it? Go look at how there was more censorship when Trump was president in 2020 than when Biden became president in 2021. Like, it's just fucking pathetic. Now, on the other hand, there is the Ana Paulina Luna factor. Ana Paulina Luna. I got to say, this is, you remember how I was saying, like, in certain circumstances, we find ourselves in a position where there is a crack in the dam, and it is our responsibility in all these circumstances to shove a crowbar in there and start wiggling that motherfucker back and forth. And one of the weirdest breaks that happened between Republicans, amongst Republicans who have a hair's breadth control over the House, and a tenuous one at that, and that they somehow, this is the part that amazes me. I don't know how you don't understand the strategic idiocy of in a situation where you have a narrow, like a margin of like 2 votes. You decide now is the time to get rid of proxy voting, or make sure, we end the leftover from COVID proxy voting, especially for new parents. When you have, I think, 3 or even 4 new parents of infants, like weeks and months old, and then and again, I know the Republicans think, and Trump think that fathers have no say or play in a child's upbringing, but it might shock them to find out that when a child gets sick, especially, or God forbid, or something, goes south as far as their scheduling or their school or something like that, one of the parents may have to be there, and it might not be a choice. You might be it as the guy. I know. I don't know what. Obviously not in Mike Johnson world, but where the rest of us live, where we actually give a shit. And that you would eliminate proxy voting specifically on the back of blocking parents' ability, new parents. And at the same time, like, isn't Elon Musk like, have babies? We should do everything we can to support having fucking babies. And the same thing with like, the Democrats hate the nuclear family. They're trying to destroy the family, and they don't want to have children. So the childless cat ladies, like all this rhetoric about how they're pro-family and we're anti-family, and how they're pro-baby and all this kind of shit. And these motherfuckers want to eliminate abortion, but then if the woman has the baby, and she has a job of any sort, including in the fucking government as an elected representative of a district full of Americans, she has to like walk in there and vote fresh from the delivery room if they make her. And I gotta say, there seems to be an underlying theme to this that I think parallels. They kind of there's like a that runs in in equal tracks. One is that men shouldn't be involved in parenting. Right? Yes, he after they lost this vote, this loss to bring this rule to the floor, he called off all the rest of the votes for the week because he's a petulant prick. But what is the root of this? What are they really getting at with bullshit like this? Because there's not enough people left over in their party who are like, we all got to be here or it doesn't count, especially when you have a tenuous vote. You need everybody voting that you can. You need, if somebody gets sick and they can vote from their fucking hospital bed, you're going to need them to do it. If you're going to maintain the fucking majority, and here's how it works, fuckwad. If three, God forbid, and this, I'm not asking for this, I'm telling you this is a very distinct possibility. If three Republicans are injured to the point that they are in the hospital and Democrats call for a vote on a new speaker and manage to get it because there aren't enough Republicans to say no, Hakeem Jeffries is the speaker. Like, I mean, never mind the budget or any kind of ridiculous bullshit they want to ramrod through on Trump's behalf. Why do they think he's doing all these EOs? Because they don't have the strength in even the House to do it. And the Senate will push back. Oh my God, they're dumb. Thank God they're this stupid. For real. Because if three of their members get sick or and an equal number of Democrats or one Democrat, if all the Democrats show up and three of these guys are sick and they can't proxy vote from their hospital bed, even though they're fully aware there's a phones fucking work. They can go, yes, I'm voting for that. I'm on FaceTime. Push the goddamn button. If they, if and it's not even like they're doing it like you can do it willy-nilly, just stay in your district and vote from there. They literally, because they know they know their caucus will shatter if they do a work from home on the Republican side. You do a work from home for Democrats, they're all going to go to Washington and fucking stand there against this administration. But if you do it for Republicans, they've all told everybody, nobody, who the fuck goes to Washington? Why do you need to go to Washington? Washington's so disconnected. Washington's so like, like they don't understand Main Street and all that shit. So every reason they have to not go, they will use. Plus, they can exercise that power in their district where they can get graft and pad their pockets. So it's like they know it will fall apart. That's what the fear is. But all you got to do is put something in the rules that says new parents up to, 12 weeks and people who are gravely ill in a hospital bed or currently contagious for 3 to 5 days, but are awake and aware, can vote by proxy. Everybody else has got to show up. Like, that's basically the rule that they were trying to put in. And they can't allow that to happen. So why? Why is it such a deep, entrenched thing that they need to eliminate it? And I think it really goes towards pregnancy is one of the things they count on to keep women out of the workforce, to keep them from running. You know how like the major was talking about how they eliminate some of the shaving kit and the shaving rules rather about like black people having beards because ingrown hairs are a real problem for certain black people, especially along their neck area and their cheeks. And so shaving all the time isn't necessarily the healthiest thing you can do. So they have a special rule for types of skin that you can wear a tight G.I. Joe beard if you need, if you're black, and therefore you don't have to have this possibility of infection from ingrown hairs all the fucking time, right? And the reason they dropped that rule is not because they think it's a bullshit rule or don't believe it's necessary. It's because they don't want black people to serve. So it's one of the ways they can keep people from joining or quitting early, or they can, people will wash out or fuck off. They're doing, that's the secondary impact. Well, what's the secondary impact of this? Men shouldn't have anything to do with the upbringing of small children, and women don't belong anywhere near the halls of power. And if you can't, if you're planning on ever being pregnant, don't run for office. Because they're counting on your pregnancy to nullify your ability to serve. They want to, this is their way of talking women out of running for office. I suppose until after their child rearing years. But I think by then they think they'll be too stupid, weak, or old to do anything. Yes, and I agree. Billy Joe says it's like that in the workplace too. I agree. This is all the kind of like trad wife, religiosity that you see from this fucking, like reject from our gang. But the part of it that really stands out, and again, the root of this is Anna Paulina Luna, rallied, I guess, 9 Republicans joined all the Democrats in rejecting this, like to eliminate the ability for them to vote by proxy rather than in person so they can care for newborns. 9 Republicans joined all the Democrats in rejecting his plan that would eliminate that ability. 206 to 222. It was a high-profile setback for the speaker, who rarely exercised the power of his gavel in such a determined way as he did to prevent the bipartisan plan from 2 new mothers, Republican Rep. Anna Paulina Luna of Florida and Democrat Rep. Brittany Peterson of Colorado. Fucking Colorado. Like, you think you guys can afford to lose any ground? Obviously you think you've got Florida fucking locked, but you think you can afford to lose room in Colorado? You don't think this will be a talking point? Very disappointed, Johnson said after the vote. He canceled the rest of the week's sessions and said, we'll regroup. For what? Regroup for what? Why is that the hill to die on in this session? You're not getting, obviously, Trump is just doing their work for them by putting these executive orders in, which is why the courts are handling these things. So that, by the way, you know how they're saying, well, the courts are doing all the work right now and Democrats aren't. And God bless Cory Booker for doing what he did yesterday and all the Democrats that joined him in the Senate and all the other stuff that most people don't know, the Social Security War Room that I think they should call the Social Security Defense Department myself. But, who am I? Just a smart, funny guy, so much of what everybody's saying is like it's all being done in the court. All the pushback is happening in the courts. Okay, yes. Why is it being done in the courts? Because he's governing by executive order. He's bypassing Congress. So the test is not in a voting arena, but in a legal arena. If he had a mandate and the American people overwhelmingly voted for Project 2025 and all of its ancillary testicular nonsense, we would be talking about the fight between Republicans and Democrats in the House. That's not happening right now. The biggest fight about it that happened in the fucking House this week, first was the budget, which the Republicans couldn't pass one, so there was a CR. And again, it was a good idea. It was the best idea. It was the lesser of 3 evils. It wasn't even the lesser of 2 evils. The Senate bill would be the lesser of 2 evils of the 2 most evil, and the House bill is the most evil, just to clarify. But the biggest fight they're fucking having is over proxy voting. Think about that for a second. Think about the fact that these motherfuckers stomped out of the chamber, womp womp, because they wouldn't be allowed to deny new mothers the ability to proxy vote. That's what they're fighting for on the floor of the House right now. That's the battle. They're having all these fucking dipshit committee things about JFK to hide the fact that they haven't released the Epstein files. They're doing all this kind of like reiterating leftover shit from Biden, which goes nowhere, including the clip I showed you earlier. the biggest fight this week. The tariffs are supposed to happen in a couple hours, and they don't even know what the fuck they are. Markets are going haywire because nobody knows what the fuck he's gonna do, and they know he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. So that's happening. We are at war in Yemen. We are at war with southern Yemen, period. Fuck the no new wars business. We have gone from a tit-for-tat defense of ships in the, like, like Chinese and Russian ships trying to get through the strait down there. We're at war. It's a new war. This is a new war. This went from like authorized use of military force kind of anti-terrorism thing that the Biden administration was doing or that other people did. And this is it's a regular order war. They fired on an F-16 yesterday. Day before yesterday now. I don't know, whatever. I don't know what the time difference in this regard. They fired at one of our jet after Trump, by the way, gave his big saber rattling fucking Gaddafi warning to them. It's a real war with southern Yemen, the Houthi controlled areas of Yemen, which are Houthi land, whatever you want to call it. They run it, they control it, and they have an army, and they're backed by Iran, and they are not backing down. And then Iran, same shit. So Iran, the Ayatollah Khomeini basically gave this whole like, I'm ready to die, let's do this shit. Let's see. And I, oh God, this, you know how I've been telling you guys about fucking the whole like two trains leaving the station and they're headed for a collision. Trump's whole thing about Iran, it has left the station. He gave him a month ago, he gave him a 2-month deadline. And a month from now, he's basically saying that's his red line and he's got to do something or let Israel do something in a month or, bluff called bullshit, lame duck, all that shit, right? So, let's see this. Yeah. He's talking about like Iran, is going to learn the hard way, and I'd rather it be a peace deal, and they should have a deal, and deal works, and deal and art of the deal, and deal with this, and just learn to fucking deal. And but the other option will work just fine, or which he means either we nuke them or Moab or all out assault, right? Meanwhile, Gabbard, who in theory, maybe she's, well, I mean, this is probably a Russian control thing. Let's be honest, before I venture too far down the realm of like open gullibility. Let's just understand Russia and Iran are friends. Gabbard is a Russian asshat, and therefore she's, the friend of my friend's enemy is my frenemy. No, her idea is that we are. Trump threatens Iran over nuke. Says DNI Gabbard claims Tehran is not building bombs. Trump says if they don't do a deal, there will be bombing. President Trump said on Sunday. Meanwhile, Gabbard claims building bombs. Just, what's that meeting like? Think about this for a second. If Biden came out and said, we're going to bomb Iran in 4 weeks if they don't come to the table, and his like the head of the DNI came out and said, they're not, I mean, I don't even know why they're not building bombs. Again, I guess we've done so much if Biden, if Obama, till we're blue in the face. But he goes, if they don't do a deal, there will be bombing. There's a chance that if they don't make a deal, that I will do secondary tariffs on them like I did 4 years ago. But he's going to tariff bomb them. Secondary tariffs or sanctions would mean slapping financial penalties on any country that does business with Iran. Yeah, okay, whatever. Which is not really if you need what Iran has, you're still going to pay it, I guess. Whatever. However, Trump's threat for direct war with Tehran comes after Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard insisted last week that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, at least not yet. The IC continues to assess that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, and Khamenei has not authorized a nuclear weapon program that he suspended in 2003, Gabbard told a worldwide threat hearing held by the Senate Intelligence Committee last week. Experts believe they've enriched their uranium to 60%. They have to do 90% to do a nuclear weapon. That's why we're always a few weeks away, right? That's where that comes from, is how long does it take you to go from 60 to 90? These facilities are like, a mile underground and, whatever. And the idea is that you can't bomb them because I love this. Like, you can't destroy the facilities because they're so deep underground. Like, yeah, but you can destroy the ability to get to them. They got to have a door, right? They got to have an entrance. Is there a tunnel from fucking Tehran that goes, all the way to that site? Not a mile underground? All right. Anyways. So Tehran would try to leverage its robust missile capability and expand nuclear program and its diplomatic outreach, blah, blah, blah. However, regional and domestic challenges, not most immediately tensions with Israel, are seriously testing Iran's ambitions and capabilities. The report detailed the lethality of Iran's missiles and UAV systems, but said little else about the threat of Iran's nuclear program. That's the IC. So they're just kind of in a static sense. And the idea is they can't have a bomb. Is this? Oh well, here. I don't know if he does. Is this the whole thing? Is this the gaggle, the whole gaggle, or just the part about Russia?
I don't think he's going to go back to this group. I don't think he's going to go back to this group.
Hold on. There's got to be better fucking footage of this than that. The audio on that is just ass. Give me 1 second. Good Lord. Yeah, I told you. Right. I told you. I already told you. Yeah, I already told you, Khamenei. Let's see. Trump Air Force One reporter, whatever there. This is wait, there news about anything updated. It's now his new fucking way of jabbering about, like, fuck, this is terrible. What a dipshit. Okay, here we go.
Weeks, and if we don't see any progress, we're going to put them on. We're not putting them on right now, but if you remember, I did that 6 years ago, and it worked very well, to put it mildly. And if the election weren't rigged, you would have a situation where there would be no problem with Iran today, but it was. Biden didn't know what he was doing, obviously.
Trump killed the Iran deal. We had an Iran deal, and now we don't have an Iran deal because they don't trust the U.S. government to make a deal because they were concerned. Get this. Apparently, I don't know, it was nuts. The Iranians were concerned that at some point Trump would come back in power, and if they'd made a deal with the Biden administration or anybody else, Trump or somebody like him would come back into power and scuttle the fucking thing. So what's the point? Thank God that never, oh shit.
We have a very...
Oh, and by the way, yeah, Lutnick is excellent. Who pointed that out first? Yeah, Billy Joe. Lutnick is just behind him playing Chucklehead right now. And Lutnick's head is allegedly the first on the chopping block if the tariff stuff doesn't work really fucking quickly. And somebody says he's got butthole lips. It's true.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
Right? But hold on. I gotta click on this one.
Rough situation in the Middle East because of that. You ended up with October 7th, and you would have never had October 7th, and you would have never had Russia going into Ukraine likewise. We're going to make a decision on secondary tariffs on Iran based on whether or not they're going to make a deal. If they're going to make a deal, then we're never going to put secondary tariffs on. We're going to hope they have a great, long, and successful life as a country.
Also, like, dude, if they make a deal about nuclear weapons, but they continue to fund Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis, and just shift from nuclear ambitions to like proxy satellite, just murder campaigns, you're still going to let them sell everything? You're not going to put sanctions on them then? And then what if you do to try to stop that? And they're like, well, fuck it. The only reason we weren't making nukes is because you had these, you were threatening us with these sanctions, or you took those sanctions off and now you put them back on for this other stuff. So we can't do anything. So fuck it. We might as well do everything. And then of course there's always the factor of, oh, P.S. ta-da, we have been making nukes this whole time, just like North Korea. And you've been able to bullshit during your presidency that it didn't happen under you, but the next president's going to have to deal with a nuclear Iran.
But we'll see what happens. It's very, very interesting. I can't imagine them doing anything else but making a deal. I would prefer a deal to the other alternative, which I think everybody in this plane knows what that is.
I don't know. What, you're just going to fly by and drop your diaper on them?
Oh, hello there!
So stupid.
And that's not going to be pretty, and I do not prefer that.
So, Mr. President, on the tariffs, you said that you were at one point that the tariffs Tuesday would be more conservative than what people might think. There's reports that you are maybe now looking to make the tariffs higher. So are you weighing higher tariffs? Or
the tariffs will be far more generous than those countries were to us.
So not reciprocal, I guess. We're throwing the whole reciprocal bullshit out the fucking window, and then he's going to do little tacit notch-ups with some people after all this fucking talk. They've got a 200% tariff on us. We're going to put a 2% tariff on them, waggity wag. Jesus.
They will be kinder than those countries were to the United States of America over the decades. They ripped us off like no country's ever been ripped off in history.
And yet we're still the biggest economy in the world. I don't know how that fucking happened.
And we're going to be much nicer than they were to us, but it's substantial money for the country, nevertheless.
Substantial money for the country, nevertheless. What do you think? He's going to count on like what would effectively be a worldwide version. He's basically taking the pressure off China instead of doing all the sanctions he did on China last time to kind of pay for his fuck up with the farmers. He's going to do like sprinkle ones all over so that he can pay, the industries that get destroyed by it as they allegedly rebuild during I don't know, over the course of whatever the time scale is.
On the tariffs that you're planning, so you're expecting to hit something like 10 to 15 countries, is that right?
No.
All countries? All of the countries.
Is it across the board?
Not 10. I don't know. Who told you 10 or 15 countries?
Well, we heard that. So we heard that you were going to aim for the 15%.
But you didn't hear it from me.
Okay, so how many countries will be in that initial tranche?
You'd start with all countries, so let's see what happens. There are many.
Yeah, fuck you, Papua New Guinea. Why? What do we... So we have to make everything in this fucking country. So all the ethnic food that's served all over the place in the United States, the fucking sauce for fucking pad thai has to be made in the United States or gets from fucking stupid. Otherwise, if they don't take our ketchup, we won't take pad thai sauce. So even though, what the fuck do they need all that ketchup for? And we just want some of the pad thai at a cheap cost that's equal to the price that they pay in the country, which is evened out by like shipping and others. Oh, fuck me. So stupid. Like, he has no idea. He has fucking no idea. His hair looks great though.
Oh, nice marmot.
Yeah.
Rumor about 15 countries. last 10 or 15.
So you're starting with all countries?
Essentially, all of the countries that we're talking about. Wouldn't be talking about all countries. That's not a cutoff. And if you look at the history and you look at what's happened to us, you go to certain places, go to Asia, and you take a look at every single country in Asia, what they've done to the United States in trade. And by the way, in military in a certain way. You look at
in trade, in military in a certain way.
You would take a look at trade with Asia, and I wouldn't say anybody is treated as fairly or nicely, and but we are going to treat them. We're going to be much more generous to them in terms of heart.
Okay, see how Lutnick is nodding? He's either in trying to cover his own ass because of the market damage that's been done. They're expecting a rebound, so they're buying the dip. Lutnick's a billionaire. A bunch of these guys around him are the billionaire, and they think the idea is that we set up this trade talk, make him bluster his way through it, and then when they come, they turn out to be kind of fucking nothing, and then we'll move on to the next thing, and the market will rebound, and we'll all buy these fucking stocks at a premium.
More generous than they were to us.
You said you were not joking about a third term, about possibly wanting a third term.
Stop asking him about the fucking third term. He can't do it. He can't do it. And the idea that like Vance is going to run and win, which is fucking hilarious, and that when he does, he'll hand the reins over to Trump or Trump will fucking kill him. Like, get out of here. What are you talking about? Like, Vance is a dweeb and a moron, but I think he's got at least some baseline mammalian survival instinct. Holy shit.
Does that mean you're not planning to leave office on January 20th?
I'm not looking at that, but I'll tell you, I have had more people ask me to have a third term, which is in a way a fourth term because the other election, the 2020 election was totally rigged. So it's sort of a fourth term in a certain way. I just don't want the credit for the second because Biden was so bad he did.
Okay, see how Chucklehead is laughing in the background? He knows this is a game. Like Trump behind the scenes says this is how I fuck with these people. Just so you know. And we don't. This is more of an afternoon show kind of a thing to do. But I wanted to get into some of that Iran stuff because, and then. This is happening at the same time. New photos show Pentagon continuing mysterious buildup in the wake of Trump's latest threats against Iran. We've sent B1 bombers, B2 Spirit bombers, to Camp Thunder Bay and Diego Garcia, the largest island of the Chagos Archipelago. And yeah, there they go. Good old OSINT. Yep. There you go. You can just see it from the fucking sky. Yep. So they're there. We know other people know. We know Iran knows we know that they're there. We know that Iran knows that we know that they're there. And I know that you know that I know that you know. Hamana. So the reason I bring this up other than Trump's whole no new wars bullshit is just that. Just stupid. Because he's clearly planning to go through with some portion of this because the Iranians are not going to back down on this. The Iranian, again, these guys think that like religious fanatics are fucking bluffing. You don't have to acquiesce to what they want. They're dangerous sociopaths using religion as a cudgel against their own people and the people of the world. But you have to at least recognize that they have a different standard for what winning is than you do. They can die and still win. That's a problem. That's a problem that requires a different solution than even the Putins of the world. Because for all of Putin's like shitty characteristics, he's still at his root a hedonist. Like it's about him. It's about his own pleasure, his own life, the servicing of him. And you know, there are no hand jobs in heaven. It's an old Russian motto. And so Sorry. I don't know where I came up with that, but it just popped off the old noggin there, and now we're all stuck with it. I apologize. But this is an issue. Like Russians want to be alive to enjoy the spoils of war, or the Khomeini folks in Iran don't. The average Iranian does, and part of this might be an attempt to ratchet up pressure so that they take to the streets again. And there's the Jasmine Revolution happens again, renewed right at the time when Iran is sort of at its weakest after it sent out as much arms and support as it has to Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis. Now, think about all those things, is my point. Think about all those fucking crazy things. And let's see, I think our dear friend Cliff Schechter should be coming in any minute, I think, in there. And I'm really testing the waters, trying to get him on the show. I have an idea, and I think it will work. God help me. You'll wish me luck when it actually happens, because I have a theory about how this, I might have to, where do I put him in here? I think probably it has to be, yeah. It has to be in there. Yep. I think that'll do it. And then it just has to monitor. Yeah. No. Yes. Goes to the stream. No. Okay. It just has to go to the stream. I don't need to hear them. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay. I have to hear the monitor. All right. There we go. Wait. So he should be in a minute. But the reason I bring all this up is, like, think about all the crazy shit about Iran. We've got B-2 bombers. We've got the Houthis firing on an F-16 fighter. We are at full war with these motherfuckers. The proxy war that Iran is conducting isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Khomeini basically said, "Fuck your 2-month time limit." That Trump has these fucking bizarre tariff beliefs that are going to either go into effect or not go into effect, or be a fucking giant dud or some shit, or they're okay. Staff chat is there. Cliff just called. He needs to cancel and reschedule for Monday. Okay, that's fine. Then it's just us. Excellent. Well, I'll have to test my system that I had. I put up a whole system, so Ecamm is much better on the Mac for doing guests. And so I have to show you guys what I did. I'm in OBS, the software that I normally use for the show and that I used to use for guests, but the other thing that I used to bring the guests in sucked and was always a problem. And so I made a Ecamm guest window. So I have Ecamm open on another thing, and then the guests are like, I'm using it as a virtual cam and putting them into here. And I wanted to test it. Son of a bitch. And it's the only time I could live test it. All right. Son of a bitch. Yeah, it'll work out. Ugh. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. So, obviously, there's a lot of reasons to talk about what's going on with the tariffs, and why there's a lot of reason to talk about what's going on with Iran, and there's a lot of reason to talk about what's going on with fucking Musk and all this kind of shit. And all that stuff is so huge and so fucked up that it makes it even more ridiculous that this dumb motherfucker shut down the Congress for the week, shut down the House for the week over one proxy vote issue with new parents when he could lose a fucking vote from one of his representatives, namely Anna Paulina Luna, and like 3 other dads on his side. If any of them have to stay home, or again, anything else fucking happens, they were going to shut this down so that they could like this weird pissing match over like 2021 post-COVID, everybody, government workers need to come to work, Doge bullshit. This is the big fight they picked this week. This is it. This shut the whole fucking place down. Think about all the stuff that's going on in the world, and this is like, fuck it. No more votes this week. Do you know, like, I don't know, disconnected from reality you have to fucking be? That this is what establishes a like a baseline for the work that you do in the face of all this other shit that's going on in the world. And let me tell you, hold on, let's go back to the chat room real quick. Get back in here, you silly thing, you silly doggy, come here. So that's there's this Lenny Bruce line that gets stuck in my head all the time about this kid the airplane glue bit that he did. Get Flicka, smell this rag. Smell this rag, you silly doggy. Flicka, Flicka, Flicka. Right. Okay. Anyways, and it's, I don't know why it's stuck in my head. It just is. Okay. So. Dun, 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 dun. Boo, 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 boo. Do, 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 do. Yeah. So, the yeah, here we go. You know how one of the things they like to talk about amongst Trump in Trump world about the like the border. The border numbers from this year are down 96% from last year. Oh, hardy har. And everybody's like, oh dear God, about the tariffs or whatever. And so everybody's buying in at the dip because there's a bunch of people who are poised to buy a bunch of shit thinking it's going to go up because Trump is going to rescind his shit. So everything's trending up a little bit today, cautiously. After all this, we're going to be very kind horseshit. Never mind the stock price. Let's don't even bother thinking that the stock price matters in this situation. It's a fucking meme stock. It might as well be GameStop or fucking AMC theaters. On its merits, Tesla's a fucking meme stock now. Get out of here. Shoo. Tesla sales plunge, biggest decline in history. Quarter one reports 336,000 vehicle deliveries in first quarter, a 13% drop from a year ago, which was already not good. Deliveries and production report landed 2 days after Tesla's stock wrapped up its worst quarter since 2022. During the quarter, Tesla faced waves of protest, boycotts, criminal acts in response to the CEO's, Elon Musk's political antics, and work in the Trump administration. Total deliveries in quarter one 2025, 336,681. Last year, 362,615. Investors were expecting Tesla to report deliveries of between 360 to 370. Nope. According to Street Account, Tesla's investor relations team sends a company-compiled consensus to select analysts and said the average estimate was for around 377,590 deliveries. Nope. In the first quarter of 2024, they sold 386,810 and a production of 433. I'm curious what the production, like if production is down and that's why they feel like, hey, we sold a lot less cars, but we made a lot less cars. So, everything's going to be just fine.
Oh, hello there!
Sorry. That's kind of my new favorite sound effect because that I was looking all over for that Grover sound effect. for when Musk gave his all hands on deck meeting with fucking investors and people, and he walks out on stage and does his jump in the air, and it's like,
hello there!
it's just, yes, I agree. Grover's cruel. It's not, there's a lot of
I love laugh.
to it as well, but still, like, yeah. So Anyways, where was I? Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Now, 433. We knew 1Q Tesla deliveries would be soft, but these numbers were bad. Let me hold on. Let me blow this up for you so you can see this. This is my favorite part of it. I think over the we knew 1Q Tesla deliveries would be soft, Bing. But these numbers were bad. Oh. Man, boom, doom, doom, da, doom, boom, doom, doom, da, doom. Your sales are bad and Tesla sucks. You're running out of all those bucks. So, I'm sorry. We're not going to look at these numbers with rose-colored glasses. They were a disaster. This is what you gotta say. This is, you know how they're like, it's Elon Musk, super businessman, super businessman. Here comes Elon Musk, super genius.
Oh, hello there.
So, they were a disaster on every metric. A disaster on every metric. Refresh issues, but brand crisis key. Deliveries are the closest approximation of vehicle sales reported by Tesla, but are not precisely defined in the company's shareholder communications. That means. That means it could also be bullshit. That was just bullshit, Joel. I hope you enjoyed your nap, Nancy. Relax. I got this. Company reported 12,881 deliveries of its other models, including its angular steel Cybertruck. What else happened with the Cybertruck this week? Well, Mike Johnson was worried about people who actually knew how to use their Johnson, making babies, and with the women that work in the Congress, and making sure that they weren't able to show up and vote to release the Epstein documents, which also might be a big problem. What else happened? Anybody? Let's see. Should we? I mean, this had to be good for business. I love this. This is so good. Get over here. There you go. Show reader. There we go. Shoot. Yeah. This not this is the part that that's the part that really stands out to me. Not the fact that this is a ridiculous recall of 46,000 Cybertrucks, of which there are, what, 60,000 running around out there. It's the 8th Cybertruck. 8 is enough. I think all boomers will attest to this, as well as Gen Xers. 8. Fucking 8. And it was like stupid. And I love this. Okay. This is so good. And again, to bikers for Trump, Musk is trying to decapitate you. Okay, the recall was initiated over concerns an exterior trim panel on the Cybertruck vehicles could delaminate and detach from the vehicle, posing a road hazard, or decapitating motorcyclists, and anyone in a fucking convertible with a downdraft. Delaminate. That's hilarious. Delaminate. Pieces of the fucking thing are flying off in traffic. Metal sheets. Sheet metal. Bent, sail-like sheet metal is flying off these pieces of shit at high speed in traffic. Are you... This piece in particular. Like... It's delaminating. We have guys, gather around. Elon would like a word.
Oh, hello there.
We're having a delaminating problem. What? Yeah, the little thing. It's a little problem with delamination. We'll handle it. You know, who doesn't delaminate once in a while? Honestly, there's a mild issue with delamination. But it's all good.
I got a bad feeling about this.
No, look, sir, sit down. All of you, you need to cool down. And I'm glad all of our investors are here.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
I was never actually officially charged with anything, but I will say that the delamination issue is for us, it's job one.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to, and you have to do it.
Oh, the recall affects Tesla Cybertruck vehicle owners nationwide. No word on whether nationwide is on your side if you are decapitated by a chunk of Cybertruck. Nationwide is on your... I should have a body falling sound effect. Do I have any sample sound effect? Yeah. Nationwide is on your... fucking Cybertrucks. All right. Sorry. Thank you. That's good. All right, now back to the chat. Hi there. A Toyota Corolla is more of a truck than a Cybertruck. You make a good case there. Someone needs to paint one rusty brown. They already have. There's a bunch of them. Oh, shut up. Let's see. This is the other thing. Here we go. Fuck you. Hold on. Pause. Don't play it. Oh, son of a bitch. This is so the turd polishing over at Fox News continues apace. Let me show you. Let's see. Bring this up here. I'm just gonna take this. This is Brett Baer. Show of force. Large military drills around Taiwan. This is China, I'm presuming. There's a big because of the flag behind him. And then serious growing concern over Taiwan independence, and Trump doesn't give a shit. And then this is, I don't know, like they're showing memes and from the Taiwanese and decapitation of the Taiwanese. There they go. Effort to maintain regional peace. Yeah. Great. We're in great hands. I'm sure there's plenty of sake to go around. Hold on, let's see what Caroline Levitt says.
Maintaining peace in the Taiwan Strait, reiterating our opposition to any unilateral attempts to change the status quo by force or coercion.
All this as President Trump and Chinese President Xi are still sizing each other up, including on the economic front. How far
can they just fucking get it over with? Good Lord. So this is happening. All this stuff is the world is continuing with its parade towards holy shit. Oh my God, they already have, yes. But here's the issue. On the other side, there are elements of the world that we're dealing with that aren't there's no problem. Okay. That the entire like the Biden team came, as the Trump team came in, was dealing with the reality of these things, and we're going, hey, look, we know you hate us, and yeah, commie, whatever, but you really do have these problems. And it's reminiscent, the way the Biden team was talking to the Trump team was very reminiscent to Clinton Gore talking to Bush too, when he was like, hey, this Bin Laden dude, you gotta pay attention to. This is gonna be a problem. And they blew it off, and the rest is history, as it were. Let's see. Meanwhile, though, Trump is still attempting, like they're just operating on a different plane of existence. They're just fucking pretending. And I wanted to find a piece of, yeah. So this is the thought.
It is certainly
going,
possible.
Hold on. This is the Sun's report on what the U.S. is doing in terms of Iran. So let me show you this real quick, and I'll this is like sort of the seriousness versus the inserious veneer.
There is a lot of talk around about it at the moment, and of course the Israelis and the Americans have already struck Iranian targets, and in fact the British have as well. When Israeli missiles were fired at Israel last year, the Royal Air Force.
He meant Iranian missiles were. Israel didn't fire missiles at itself. It's got enough problems.
Helped the Americans and others to shoot them down. So there is precedent to this. At the moment, how likely is it? It's, I think there is a lot of...
By the way, Hamish de Breton Gordon is, I mean, one of the most British names you could possibly have next to Benedict Cumberbatch and Engelbert Humperdinck.
Information, intelligence coming out of Israel that the Israelis and the Americans have been planning for some time to attack targets in Iran, and most especially the nuclear weapons program. Nuclear proliferation.
Those are the centrifuges.
Has been a real problem in the world over the last few years. And
I love how they have these like boss printouts. This is what makes Trump jealous, is that they have these like the Ayatollah Khomeini and Khamenei in succession, like, like father, like son, brothers till the end. It looks like it looks like a movie poster for the Iranian version of Grumpy Old Men. But to have these kind of like, don't forget, dear leader, Trump wants that shit everywhere. When we're watching this, we're like, shit, that's a lot of nuclear centrifuges, and if they got a weapon, they're so hell-bent on the the elimination of Israel from the planet. This is every single one of those is hundreds of thousands of people dead if it happens or whatever. And Trump would look at all this and go, I want a picture like that. Why don't we have pictures of me everywhere like that? We can buy these stand-ups, right? Use taxpayer money to make more pictures of me. Say what you will about Saddam Hussein, but he had an incredible design ethic.
On as the center of the axis of evil, if you like, has been key to that. The Iran nuclear weapons program has been well documented, and
also when it comes to nuclear weapons, I really want to like hats off to how they can stay so retro. We used to think of nuclear weapons as the weapons of the future, like space rays and flying cars, and literally they're like oil rigs have more complicated control systems.
There have been various treaties to try and limit them, but at the moment,
you've been on the deck of a cruise ship lately. It's hilarious. It's like 9 big screen TVs, and the captain's wheel is like this big.
Those are not being adhered to. There seems to be pretty good intelligence and in the open source that the Iranians are enriching uranium-233 and have the centrifuges to do that, to make it into what we call weapons-grade nuclear material. And that is enriched to plus of 90%. Some reports say that the Iranians are...
Isn't it fun when they have like these big experts on TV and they basically say what I tell you in a less concise and kind of more drawn out, dry way? I just saying. It's not as hard. It's not as difficult to be right as it used to be if you just remember things.
Close to doing that. It is also clear that the Iranians have a very sophisticated missile program. In other words, they probably have a missile that can deliver a warhead. So the next stage after you've enriched uranium is to create a warhead. Now, that's not an insignificant task and will take time. However, it's also very clear that the Iranians and the Russians work very close together. And Iran has provided.
Yeah, curious about that. Like, Trump hates Iran. Wants this. Maybe this is why he's like, I want them to do a deal, and I think they'll do a deal in the same way that he's deluded about Putin.
Russia with a lot of military equipment in their illegal invasion of Ukraine, mostly drones. But it's also likely that Russia is providing nuclear technology and know-how to Iran. So
you don't fucking say. Also, hi chat room. You're watching HalSparks Mornings Mega Worldwide. It's just the two of us today. Cliff Schechter was going to be on, but he had shite to do, and of course, Phil was on with us on Monday already, so we won't see him till Saturday. But he's doing well. We got him early in the week. And I guess now is a good time as any to remind you to follow me on Blue Sky and on Instagram and on Threads and on YouTube, like, subscribe, etc. What else haven't I done? What? I guess the tariffs. Oh, is the word that they're coming out just now. Hold on, let me see if there's a breaking thing on this. That he's gonna plan still in limbo ahead of Rose Garden event. It's gonna be at 4 o'clock today. Yeah. In the meeting Tuesday, Trump's team continued to hash out their options ahead of a Rose Garden event scheduled to begin as U.S. markets close at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. People familiar with the ongoing discussions said the White House has not reached a firm decision on their tariff plan. Motherfucker. This is just, God damn it. Let me to Glenn Beck and Peanut Butter Dickhead, Patrick Bet David, and the Daily Fucking Wire, and Tucker Shitheel Carlson, and everybody on Fox Business who should actually know better, and Greg Kelly and all you. I don't want to hear shit about what a master businessman Trump is, unless what you're actually praising him for is creating a pump and dump scheme and an artificial shutdown so that you could buy the dip of the U.S. stock market for his own corrupt benefit. If you just mean he's a great thief, fucking say so. If what you're really praising is his ability to, like, get around the rules, cheat, and get away with it all the time, then just fucking say so, you weaklings. Because the idea that he's actually good at real functional business is absurd. In meetings on Tuesday, Trump's team continued to hash out their options ahead of a Rose Garden event scheduled to begin as U.S. markets close at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. People familiar with the ongoing discussion said the White House has not reached a firm decision on their tariff plan, said the people who spoke on the condition of anonymity, even though Trump himself said earlier in the week that he had settled on an approach. Gee, I wonder if he's going to release his health care plan at the same fucking time. Are we just going to do this perpetually forever? People in the news media need to go, we have, well, like, they have to have this wait and see, well, even a we'll see attitude or a yeah, right attitude. These are your two options. If you're trying to be nice, well, we'll see. Because it's always fucking punted. And everybody else should take the Brian Karem approach and just go, yeah, right. Yeah, sure. Totally. It'd be an amazing plan. I can't wait to see it. I understand you guys you just really want to dot the I's and cross the T's. It's such a plan. It must, I mean, obviously, the whole problem must be taking such a brilliant and complicated plan and dumbing it down to a little visual aid and an explanation so that you can make it law or show it to the public, because we couldn't possibly fit it in our tiny fucking brains. That's what's taking so long, not the fact that it doesn't fucking exist and that there is no plan. They're going by it's a fucking reality show. That's what this is. It's a reality show. build tension, doesn't have to go anywhere. It's, some people have like, if this was a TV show, you couldn't even make this up. No, you just you wouldn't make this up. Let's just be abundant. Let's start talking about this stuff correctly. You wouldn't write something like this because it would be too fucking stupid. Not that you couldn't, you can do anything. Should you or would you is the question, and yet no one would because this is fucking ridiculous. But a lot of times, reality shows and shit dramas like Lost start out with this big mystery, and we're like, we'll figure it out later. And 5 seasons in, they're like, what does that number 17 on that door mean? We got to say something. It's the age of the daughter. Let's just do a flashback scene, and it'll be the age of her daughter, and then her daughter's name will be the name on the next door they find. Well, what does that do? I don't know. We'll write it next week. But everybody thinks we got this, it's going to fucking unravel. Like, oh my God, they're going to reveal the brilliant. They're literally paving the road as they drive. That's what this is. And they're so busy looking down at paving the road as they drive, they can't see the cliff. Several proposals are said to be under consideration, including a tiered tariff system with a set of flat rates for countries, as well as a more customized reciprocal plan. Under the first option, countries would see their goods face levies at either a 10% or 20% rate, depending on their tariff and non-tariff barriers on U.S. goods. So he's just extending his bullshit with Mexico and Canada to everybody that might have a tariff on us because we produce more of a good than they do, and they have a local thing they don't want to die because they don't want it swamped by other markets, and they do an equal thing with every other country around them. It's not something they just do with the United States. If it's a dairy thing, they have tariffs on any country that has a major dairy industry because they don't want their dairy industry wiped out in case they fucking need it sometime. Ugh. Rumors and whispers raced across Washington and Wall Street Tuesday with less than 24 hours to go until Trump's announcements as companies, countries, and the lobbies paid to influence the president's agenda tried to find out final details. He doesn't know. The Wall Street Journal reported the Trump aides were studying a more targeted option, while Fox News said Tuesday that Trump was also still considering a flat 20% global tariff because he has no fucking idea what this even means. I swear to God, he thinks that when we say tariffs are a tax, that then I'll do a flat tax because Steve Forbes said flat tax in 1994. Good Lord. Fresh concerns were raised among central bankers in the U.S. and elsewhere about the outlook for economic growth, consumer sentiment, and inflation. You don't say. Really? Who could have seen this coming except everybody who voted for Harris? Austin Goolsbee warned of the negative consequences of any slowdown in consumer spending or business investment due to tariff-related uncertainty. If the consumer stops spending or business stops investing because they're uncertain or they're afraid where we're headed, that would be a bit of a mess. Bit of a mess, is it? Ew. Ew. Is it? Ew, is it? It's a bit of a mess. My goodness. Quite the pickle we find ourselves in. Goolsbee noted that in theory, one-time tariffs should have a transitory impact on prices, but added they may have a longer lasting impact. I feel much better. Let me read that again. Goolsbee noted that in theory, one-time tariffs should have a transitory impact on prices, but added they may have a longer lasting impact. What? Where? Are we just surrounded by dipshits? Just, oh, hello there! Like, fucking hell. That could be driven by, he said, retaliatory tariffs and the fact that some levies may hit so-called intermediate goods like components and parts that end up in domestically produced items. And this is the part that Trump has, like, he cannot intellectually conceive of. He's not capable of understanding this. He just, I mean, like physically, he doesn't have the hard drive space in his brain. You've seen businesses and consumers' confidence, sentiment, and numbers almost cratering, Goolsbee said. Fed officials left interest rate unchanged for a second straight meeting when they met in March, following a full percentage point cut at the end of last year. By the way, one of the ways that you can trigger, and this might be the method to all this madness, one of the ways you can trigger the Fed to drop interest rates precipitously, which you would want them to do if you had, I don't know, say masses of billion-dollar loans for things. You had multiple billion-dollar loans, multi-loans in the hundreds of millions that we're paying, 5 to 7 fucking % on. You, for your own benefit, would desperately want the economy to take a giant shit. So the Fed's only recourse would be to drop interest rates to near zero to goose the economy. And then you would refinance all your shit. You see why it's probably not a good idea to have a businessman running shit? Because they could just build a bunch of leverage debt, and then if they become president or vice president, they could use that to force a restructuring in the economy that would benefit them. And they would know when it's coming, and technically they would know when it's ending. Powell, speaking in a press conference after the meeting, said inflationary impacts of tariffs will likely be transitory, signaling officials can look through the price effects. Powell's use of the word transitory surprised many Fed watchers as it revived a term central bank officials used through much of 2021 to describe the pandemic's impact on price pressures. In that instance, Powell and others were ultimately proved badly wrong. I love Badly Wrong's first record, but I thought they lost the script later on. Trump is set to announce sweeping new tariffs Wednesday or not Wednesday, that a White House spokeswoman said will take effect immediately. Most Fed officials have said monetary policy is well positioned, allowing policymakers to wait and see how the economy reacts to the impact of the new levies. You don't say. So that's all going on, and the House decided to fucking call it a day and go home because a mean lady made them show how anti-family and anti-child they actually are. Now, on the other hand, there was, let's see, let me do this. There has been a, where are you? Turning people, no, I don't need that. Recommended, okay. Boink, here we go. I feel liberated. Yeah, I think, and congratulations on everybody making it to Liberation Day. Oh, thank you for, NOSN 20 posted everything is a conspiracy theory when you don't understand how anything works t-shirt. Oh, must have. Okay. Thank you for that link. I will grab one of those. I think I should be wearing it almost every day. The other thing I wanted to show, whoop-a-doo. The question, of course, being, there we go. Oh, and that was the other thing too. We didn't get to talk about this on the air. I forgot, like, this happened outside that window because it happened after I went off the show yesterday. Is just when you thought these dumbasses could not get any dumber, Mike Waltz used personal Gmail for government communications. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz used his personal Gmail account for government communications, the Washington Post reported, citing documents it reviewed and interviewed with 3 U.S. officials. Newsweek reached out to the National Security Council via email for comment. According to the Washington Post, Waltz had his schedule and other work documents sent to his personal Gmail account. A Waltz staffer reportedly used his Gmail account to have highly technical conversations with staffers at other government agencies about military positions and weapon systems being deployed in an ongoing conflict. The only reason that this guy still has a job and arguably isn't in jail is because Trump is a fragile bastard. That's it. Trump is just so fucking weak that he can't, quote, give his enemies a scalp. So he will keep this guy on to continue endangering troops and endangering the intel community with his just blathery ignorance. And granted, do you think his ignorance is just about mismanagement of facts? You do understand that this asshole gives advice on what we should do about a lot of things, including response to Houthi strikes, response to Iran, response to Russia and China. Trump administration acknowledged that the signal messages Goldberg reported were an authentic message chain, but quickly pivoted to attacking Goldberg's credibility, which didn't work, obviously. NSC is investing how Goldberg was added to the Signal group chat. Now, I have seen a few, we need to kind of like address this, I guess, and I'll wrap up the show with this. And I'll see you guys this afternoon for HalSparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show, etc., etc., etc. But there, how to put this? I do think there is a point where Trump has to let somebody go for this, as long as it continues to grow. And I think the concern that a lot of people have that Mike Waltz's ignorance and foolishness and depravity and his entire
oh, hello there,
mentality means that he's not just fucking up in the where he's posting details. And that means you start being suspect of the advice that he's giving or has gotten or has passed on, or information that he's passed on. Is he getting it right? Is he, if he's that stupid that he thought Gmail was fucking secure, then he obviously is, like, you have to check everything else he says and does. And it's not like he's super popular. Hegseth is harder for Trump to boot because he made this whole thing about how he's giving up so much money working at Fox by coming there, and it's a real sacrifice. And if he didn't make it, it was going to ruin his life if he didn't become the SecDef. That's one of the ways they shoehorned him through there. So it's going to be harder to kick him out because he's already made the case that he's, you know, like he's untouchable, I guess, to some degree. Mike Waltz, though, who gives a fuck about Mike Waltz? Mike Waltz has scapegoat written all over him, right? So, I gotta say, there, if anybody's going to go, that's who's going to go to start with. But it won't happen until they have a hearing. Specifically, they have a hearing and they bring him into, you know, he and Hegseth need to be brought in front of the Senate. Whether that, you know, how that happens is one thing. But if it happens, Waltz will shit the bed. He will spend all of his time kissing Trump's ass because he thinks that's the thing that will save him. But every question he answers, he either is going to have to, in some cases, plead the fifth, which or just assume that he can lie in front of Congress and Trump is going to pardon him. Bonjour, Vanessa. Top of the morning to you. And yes, and the blame Biden shit is getting extraordinarily old. But Politico is reporting that not only is Trump getting tired of Waltz, he's getting, and we'll see if again, things being what they are, that Trump may cut ties with Musk sooner rather than later. So this is the story that they put out from Politico magazine. Trump tells Inner Circle that Musk will leave soon. The president is pleased with Elon Musk, but the decision comes as the tech mogul increasingly looks like a political liability. And also, like Musk might want to hand this over and not be the face of Doge, although I don't know that he can. Look at the I'm gonna put this in reader so we can. Sorry, I'm sorry. Goodbye. You have been Thanos, bunny rabbit. So hold on. It allows you to get rid of, like, there you go. This should be all right. Okay. Go away and go away. There we go. Now done. All right. So this, I mean, grain of salt, right? We'll take this with a grain of salt. But that Elon Musk will be stepping back in the coming weeks from his current role as governing partner, ubiquitous cheerleader in Washington. Hatchet man, the president remains pleased with Musk and Doge, but both men have decided in recent days it will soon be time for Musk to return to his businesses and take on a supporting role, according to 3 Trump insiders who were granted anonymity to describe the evolving relationship. Musk's looming threat comes as some Trump administration insiders and many outside allies have become frustrated with his unpredictability and increasingly view the billionaire as a political liability, a dynamic that is thrown into stark relief Tuesday when a conservative judge Musk vocally supported lost his bid for Wisconsin's Supreme Court seat by 10 points. Nicely done, America. It also represents a stark shift between Trump-Musk relationship from a month ago when they said the allies were predicting Musk was here to stay and Trump would find a way to blow past the 130-day time limit. Now, I would argue that people are talking out of their ass about both of these things non-fucking stop. So, like, the problem with predicting Trump's shit is that he doesn't even know what he's doing. Right? Trump has, like, no idea about his tariffs. He has no idea about what he's going to do with Iran. He has, it's clear he had no idea about Ukraine and Russia. His whole thing, we just got to stop the killing. Like, Jesus Christ, you sound like Code Pink. Big fucking deal. Oy. So, and let's see, here you go. The CNN ran this whole thing on the polling that what happened in Wisconsin. I don't know why I don't hear that part of it for some odd reason. But let me see if I can show the image here. Boink. Yeah. Musk's net favorable rating at this point is -12 in Wisconsin. It's better in Wisconsin where the candidate he was supporting lost by 10 points. It's better in Wisconsin than it is nationally. The math says having him in him campaign for you isn't helpful. He's worse for Republicans than anybody in the Biden administration or Harris or anybody turn around helping people run for office on the Democratic side. Period. They just are. So I'm I'm sort of bullish on the bullshit finally being discovered. But this afternoon, obviously in the afternoon show, I will be covering this 4 o'clock fucking gaggle. I might, I should probably start and take it live. We'll do it live this afternoon. No one likes Musk. I would agree, including his baby mamas. But yeah, so this afternoon, obviously, again, I don't even feel like it's a mistake to even look forward to what he's doing like it's going to have an impact. Like, it's just, all of this is going to be a bumpy road. Just assume it's going to be a bumpy road and you won't really feel. It's like, remember your first time experiencing turbulence on an airplane, significant turbulence? Does anybody remember that? Like, when maybe early on in your flying, I've been flying because my parents were divorced and I traveled a lot, and because I've been a touring comedian since I was fucking 15 years old, and I hosted a game show in LA while I was still in high school when I was 17 years old. So I've been flying a lot, kids, my whole life. And I remember the first time I experienced, major turbulence. And I also remember the 30th time and the 50th time. Like, and then after a while, you're like, oh, this is what it's like. This is out of the norm for the rest of the turbulence you normally experience, but it's not totally abnormal for airplanes and the sheer volume of flights that exist. And so shit's gonna happen. So I end up sitting there while everybody else is just like grabbing their fucking bags and trying to like physically pull the oxygen thing out of the ceiling, or like or just like wailing and gnashing of teeth of other passengers. You kind of ride it out because you get used to it. You're like, hey, look, sometimes there are times when you're in the air and it's bumpier than others. And you know the difference between catastrophic air failure or being close to it, which my friend Chris Bono and I will tell you the story of our flight going into Charlotte one time where the plane was this way. Not fun. A guy on the plane shit his pants. And everybody knew it, including him, because he said so. But no one thought, oh, what a ridiculous thing. You're like, yeah, this is a pants shitting moment, I think, pretty much. It's a brown trouser flight. It really is. But the rest of the time, anything short of that, you're just like, all right, shit happens or whatever. But if you react to every bump and ruffle, you're fucking exhausted by the time you get where you're going, and you can't even have the pleasure of having gotten through it. And the same thing with the Trump administration. I think we're assuming because everything, though he talks such catastrophic talk, and he's definitely attempting a bunch of shit and it needs to be pushed back on. And I think, Dems are doing the best job they can possibly do right now, and the voters need to step up next time. But even still, these giant lurches that he's predicting out, like, I'm going to do this, and it's going to do this, and it's going to do this, which are absurd, off the charts, ridiculous level, I don't know, like plans that he has that everybody's like, yes, that will destroy the consumer confidence and drive up the CPI, and everybody's prices will go through the roof if you do that. And he's like, I'm going to do it next Tuesday, right? Is that a problem? Yes, it is. It's a problem. But we know from him that there is no consistency to any of it. So I would say it's one of those less like, the conversation about put your mask on before you put it on somebody else's at this point. I would argue just captain to let you know if the air's gotten soft and you can take off your seatbelt and go use the bathroom. But, in case we hit some unsuspected turbulence, you might want to keep your belt buckled, right? Just keep your safety belt on for the flight and we'll be all right. That's kind of where we are. So I like this idea that somehow it's almost like he wants the impact to equal his threats. And the weird part is that so much of our world, we counted on the people who knew what they were doing and the specialists last time to kind of the adults in the room to make sure that everything wouldn't collapse, and they would, if he tried to do something awful, they would, sheepdog him back in line. But the reality is that there's so many moving, there's such the current is so strong in life's river geopolitically right now that and this idea that he's going to jump in, just push backwards with his fucking oar, and it's going to turn the whole thing around is absurd. And he's going to find that out. The question is how many people fall out of the boat and when it gets capsized. That's our biggest concern. And that's the thing where like lawmakers and congressional representatives and mayors and governors and people like that are going to have to step up to like, hold the fucking Millennium Falcon together as it goes through the asteroid belt. Otherwise, if it left up to him, it would crash into a wall like a Tesla on autopilot. But it can hold. But it's going to be rough. It is. But if you live your life like, this is the end, this is the, okay, well, this is the beginning of the end, this is the beginning of the new end, the next end is coming, here comes the end, then you want him, that's his goal. He wants you to react to shit as if the end is nigh every 2 days. That's how he does it. And so you have to keep your sense of humor, and you have to keep your focus, and you have to like remind yourself of a time when there were, you know, people existed and there weren't government programs and alignments and that and the NIH and things like that that kept people safe. And people did the work on their own to make sure that they and those around them were safe. And you just have to do that in a time like this. In the same way that the pilot can do all he wants to, either fly into the storm or around it, or, you know, or into the wind or against it, but your seatbelt is in your control. And emotionally, I think that's the key. So I will see you guys this afternoon. If he's going to do this thing at 4 o'clock Eastern time, I feel like I should do a special report in a couple hours when it happens. Although, again, it's it feels like almost like following the laser pointer. But knowing what it's about and knowing if it actually is something, I know I'm going to be watching it. So why not watch it with you guys? I think that's really what we're talking about. So yeah, buckle your safety belt. Put on your oxygen mask before you put on your kids so that both of you survive. And make yourself useful as well as ornamental. And if you're a billionaire listening to this show, a fucking super chat. What's wrong with you? Just help me build a studio. It wouldn't take much. Chump change. And then, of course, get a fucking hobby. And unless you can't.
Oh, hello there.
That's my new favorite. I'm just saying. Okay, next, I guess on Friday with Rob Glenn, I'm going to have to test my... Rob, you might have to come on Thursday and help me test my system to see if it works. If I can bring on guests using the system I was going to use. If it does work, oh, that would be so sweet. Because then we can have Instagram and Substack and not have to jettison those for the morning show anymore. I have so much work to do.
Marmot.
I guess what I learned most of all was that you should always take responsibility for your actions, unless you don't have to.
We need you. Hell, I'm a mess without you. I miss you so damn much. I miss being with you. I miss being near you. I miss your laugh. I miss your musk. When this all gets sorted out, I think you and me should get an apartment together.
The Illudium Q-36 explosive space modulator. Captain's log.
It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do. Action replays in magnified fortune. To me, Corona means Italy. Euromisia.
I feel like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
Hail to the king, baby. Groovy.
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
Congratulations.
That's great psychology. Why don't you just say something bad about my mother?
Moon River. I was thinking of the immortal words of Socrates, who said, I drank what?
I'm your huckleberry. I'm your huckleberry.
Groovy.
I'm your huckleberry.
Call me Snake.
Hail to the king, baby.
I'm a land farmer, motherfucker. I'm dead sexy.
Nice. Nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
Hey, Coke! So that's the kind of fight it's gonna be.